There in Friendship Village land. This is another podcast, The Voice of Friendship Village. We're coming at you in our elaborate studio on the second floor, and we have our special guest with us, and I know you'll enjoy hearing from this person, so be sure and stick around. And today's podcast is being brought to you by the Home...
Friends at Home.
Friends of Home, yes. Friends of Home, a home health agency, part of Friendship Village, offering for you to make your stay here more pleasant and easier and more fun, in fact. So we'll learn a little bit more about them later, but I have a joke I'd like to share, and knowing of a little bit of our guest's background, I thought this might be an appropriate joke. So anyway, it involves a fresh out of school accountant, and he's interviewing for his first job. So he's with this man, and the man's kind of nervous. But anyway, they're talking back and forth, getting to know one another, and so they got down to some of the specifics about the job. And the owner of the business said, "Now, the main way I see your job as the accountant is to make my life easier. I don't want to worry about money in any way. So your job is to take that load off my shoulders. Do you think you can do that?" "Well, I think, yes, I do." "By the way, how much does this job pay?" And the owner said, "The job pays $80,000. And the guy goes, $80,000? Wow, how can such a small company afford such a grand salary?" And he said, "That, sir, is the first worry you have to take care of." Okay.
Okay. That's good.
All right, so let's move along, and we're happy to have our guest here with us. And we'll just, we've announced our sponsor, we've shared some humor, and I might also share just a tidbit of information. We'd like to edify our audience, of course. And so I'm thinking of something I saw recently on our Iowa calendar about a state park. The oldest state park in Iowa is Backbone State Park. Mm-hmm. First established in 1902, I believe. It was either 2 or 20. But anyway, that's the oldest in the state. And so next time you're at the table enjoying a meal, you can just share that little tidbit with your table mates. And
have you been there?
I have.
I have
several
too.
times.
I have too.
It's grand, yeah. I think I remember some caves. Do you remember caves there?
I don't go into caves, but they're probably there.
Oh,
we walked across the Backbone, though.
Okay. All right. You don't like caves, Mary?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Okay, here we go. Mary, why don't you take it from here for a while and introduce our guest?
I surely will. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to introduce Lisa Gates. Does anybody recognize that name? Anyway, she is our CEO of Friendship Village, Chief Executive Officer. And we're very glad to have her here this afternoon. We'd like to find out a little bit more about her background. We all know her here, but I don't think we know a lot about before she came here.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we like to do with our guests, is dig into their background, find out where they came from, how they were educated, their family, and then we get into their job later on. So, Lisa, welcome.
Thank you.
And where were you born?
I was born in a small town in Texas called Tulia. It's between Lubbock and Amarillo, and lived there for the first year of my life, and then my folks moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
And how long were you there?
I was there till I was 13, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and my mom and dad divorced when I was 9, and mom remarried when I was 13, and they decided to have a new start. They moved to Honolulu, Hawaii.
Wow,
Whoa.
have you been around?
A little bit.
Yes, so you went to school there also.
I did. I graduated from there in 74, and graduated on a Friday, January 25th. Got married on Saturday, January 26th. Came back to Iowa on that next Monday, which would have been the 28th. And my husband started back at UNI. So we
Wow.
fitted in between me graduating and him getting back to school.
So you met your husband there in Hawaii.
In Hawaii. We met at a church. We were both in a youth choir
Okay.
and met there.
Yeah.
How unique. How very, very unique.
yes.
What brought him to Hawaii?
He was in the Navy, so he was
Okay.
stationed there.
He was stationed there. So then he got transferred back here, or he was out of the Navy when you came back?
He got out of the Navy and
Okay.
was in UNI for a year and a half before we were married. Needed to finish high school.
Okay.
And then he got his degree here at UNI
What did he get his degree in?
in psychology, and then he went back for his master's in counseling.
Good. Then did you pursue a college career?
Yeah, I started my college career in 75. We'd been married about a year and a half, and discovered I was pregnant, so finished that year and became a stay-at-home mom, and then went back as a non-traditional student in 85.
Okay. So you were at home a few years.
A few years. Got my
Yes.
degree in 89.
Okay.
What does that mean, non-traditional?
I was an old lady when I went back to school.
Well-
I wasn't 18, 19, or 20.
So
Okay.
you knew what you were there for?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
But that meant some kind of status?
But it just
Or
was a way of saying that you're in college and you're not there right after high school, so you were a little bit older.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see
Interesting
that.
phrase. I never
I can understand that. Non-traditional, yeah.
non-traditional.
So then, what was your job after you graduated?
I graduated with a degree in accounting and worked for a sole practitioner CPA for about a year and a half, and then moved to one of our clients, which is a soybean processing company called Soul Nuts in Hudson, Iowa. Worked there for 7 years, and from there worked 2 years as a controller in a car dealership, and then I came here in 2000 and started working here.
Oh, you haven't been here that awful long then.
No, I was on the board of directors since 93, so from 93 to 2000 I was on the board here at Friendship Village.
Okay.
Okay.
And how does a person get a job like on the board?
Well, the board, you have to be a person of faith and be able to agree to the tenets, the faith tenets, because that is a strong background of Friendship Village. And at that time, they were looking to, they were predominantly male, and they were looking to increase the female participation on the board. And they needed somebody with a finance background. And so at that time, my pastor, who was also on the board, asked me if I would be interested in becoming part of the board.
Good. You were probably very young to do that.
Well, I'm a little older, Mary. I was probably about 45.
Oh, that's still young though. You think of some of the board members are a lot older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, what did you have for a young family at home?
I have 2 daughters. We have 2 daughters. Of course, they're both older now, but one lives here in town, and she has a 14-year-old son and a 3-year-old boy. You've seen him at the daycare.
Yes.
Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter Susie has 3 children, and she lives in Oklahoma. And,
Okay.
I'm expecting my first great-grandchild in
Ooh.
yeah, ooh,
what that's
in December.
like. Mhm.
So, yeah, so I get down there and drive down there and get to see them every once in a while.
Good. Okay. Then you got your job here. When did you move from accountant to a position here?
When I was hired in 2000, I was hired as the chief financial officer. And in April of 2014, I became the CEO.
Okay.
So I've been that since, 8 years now.
And how does one acquire a CEO position? Do you have to interview? Do you have to a board comes together and vote, or how do they do that?
Sure. Well, when there was the change from my predecessor, Velda Phillips, was leaving, the board was talked about what the attributes that somebody would need to replace or move into that position. And I had been working under Velda as her assistant. She was called administrator at that time, and I had been her assistant administrator for, I want to say, 8 of those years I was the CFO. And so I had on-the-job training, if you will.
Right.
So it was almost a natural move to step up into this position when she left it.
Good. Well, we residents here really don't know the makings of how our administration and marketing division and all those people, how they get their jobs and how they acquire their position. So it's kind of nice to learn some of that background, so that we're more acquainted with how they work, how the operation works.
Sure. I'm hired, or this position is hired by the board, and then I have the responsibility of ensuring that the other positions are filled, and those positions, depending on what they are, of course, some would need more education. For instance, our CFO needs to have a degree in accounting and some experience. Marketing, it's great to have a degree in marketing or a lot of experience. So it just depends on what the position is. Right. And I like to do interviews by group interviews, because if we were the 3 of us were interviewing somebody, you would maybe pick up on something and Phil would pick up on something, and then I would pick up on something. And so to do a group interview and have a set questions and learn their heart, their capabilities, their integrity, those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very interesting to know too. Yeah, we don't know how some of these people acquire their positions, and then we meet them, but you don't just come out and say, "How'd you get your job?"
Yeah.
What makes you able to do it?
Yeah.
I really do like to promote from within, if at all possible. So we have people here the director at Landmark Commons, she started out years ago, I want to say 13, 15, something like that, as a part-time receptionist, and has worked in a variety of different areas, and we do a lot of growth on our team to teach leadership skills and then management skills, and so she grew up within the company. We
Right.
have the director at Lakeview Lodge started off as a resident assistant and then got her degree as an LPN and then an RN, and now is the director at Lakeview Lodge. So we do a lot, or try to do when it's appropriate, hire from within.
Right, and it makes it easier that way too,
Yes.
because you have to get people that you don't know. Then you have to go through a whole different way of hiring.
You do, and you're right. It's easier, particularly for those positions which are so impactful. We really work hard with our culture here. Jerry Deerfield said to me one time, "We work in these folks' homes," and he was so on target. We work in your home. You don't live where we work, and that's just a mindset that sometimes is very difficult to get people to grasp. And our mission is here. And you just need the right kind of people with the right kind of mindset, right heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. And
Jerry had a heart for what he did.
Absolutely.
Gosh.
the biggest heart. He had the biggest heart.
He did.
Yeah.
Miss
And
him.
he could do a lot more than what he did. I mean, he was hired for certain things, but he went above and beyond.
Absolutely.
So,
And a good dancer.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
yes, he was my dancing partner.
That's
Yes, he
right.
was.
And I miss him terribly. And then let's talk about your husband.
Okay. Dan was 7 years older than I was, and was in the Navy when we met, as I said before. And he had a strong faith and a gift that he was known in the community for his skill as a counselor. I don't know if you ever cross paths with him, Phil, but he ended his career working with, at that time, primarily men who were batterers, and he had a real gift for helping folks. He worked with a lot of marriage counseling, and he retired when he was 62. He had a heart condition diagnosed since he was 42, And he passed away, it'll be 5 years ago this Thursday.
Wow, that's
So
gone fast.
sometimes fast and sometimes really slow.
Right.
You know how it goes.
Right. Yeah.
Both of you do.
He was too young. He was too young to
Yeah.
have to leave us. And he also sang in our chorus.
He
too,
did
didn't
sing. He had a great tenor voice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
growing up, he sang in a number of quartets and just truly enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That.
Well, you sang too.
Looking forward to Village Voices
Right.
kicking up again.
Coming next Monday.
Yes.
Yes.
Coming to your local area next Monday.
That's right. There's a
If
plug for
anybody
the
is
voices.
interested in singing, we start next Monday over at the chapel. I'm heard
Yes.
Yes.
at the terrace
Yeah.
in the chapel room.
Yep.
So at 10:30 on Monday mornings.
I think that is correct. Yes.
All right. We'll,
One of my memories of Dan is around the ping pong table.
Oh.
He and I used to go at it on the ping pong.
Oh.
He was good. He was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
He was a smidgen above me, so I always wanted to play him because I could get better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that was
When we were first married, he had his family. He was the baby of 7 children, and so his older brothers and sisters actually had children before he was born. So he was raised with those nephews and nieces.
Oh,
And
God.
they played some cutthroat ping pong. Oh my gosh, some of those smashes I remember hurt.
Hmm.
So where did he originally come from?
He's a Waterloo boy.
He is Waterloo.
That's how we got here.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, he wanted to live close to his mom and dad. Marie was 45, I believe, when she had Dan, so they were older.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he felt very strongly the need to stay close by them and help them as they
Right.
aged.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have a sister still living, and I have a younger brother who passed away in '89, and I have an older brother that lives in New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where's your sister live?
in Tennessee.
Okay, they're spread out also.
They are.
So you have places you can go visit
Yes, ma'am.
if you have time off.
Well, I'm taking a couple of weeks off in September here.
Okay.
I need to revitalize my mind and my
Refresh. You need a
refresh.
refreshing.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
we all
true.
do that.
You better check it out with the CEO.
I-
You are the CEO.
Well, I check it out with the board.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta
Right.
get permission from somebody.
That's right.
So then who takes over your position when you're gone?
Sherry Turner does.
Okay.
And the rest of the leadership team, I don't know if you remember, but I was sick in 15, and then when Dad passed away in 17, I was gone for months. And things just kept clicking along because the leadership team is well equipped to.
Okay, they can just step right in.
The director of dining knows what needs to. They just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a great team.
Well, it's like yesterday, take for instance, all the staff, other than the dining staff and waiters, everybody had the day off.
Right.
But the place keeps going.
It does.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows what they have to do, and they get it done.
That's true. That's
So-
true. There's a couple of us still on speed dial just in case. But,
Oh yeah.
But things just keep moving along.
If they need maintenance, they can call somebody, and if they need something from the cleaning service, they can call one of the head ones, and they can come or designate because it has to be done. This
Yep.
place runs 24 hours a day,
It does.
so
Yeah.
Snowstorm or not.
nothing can stop it from running. All right, just recently, we've had a lot of changes here, and you can tell us about that, about Rosewood.
Okay, sure. Rosewood, we became associated with Rosewood in about 96, if my memory is correct. And we managed Rosewood all that time. And it became apparent primarily because of COVID and the lack of people living there. The inability. Rosewood, let me back up. Rosewood was a hybrid model, which was tenant housing with on-site home health. And the idea of the Rosewood model was that if Dan and I moved into Rosewood and he needed a higher level of care, I could hire any home health agency, but there was a home health agency on site there that could take care of him so we could live together. If he needed nursing care, we couldn't live together because I can't live in the nursing home. So it was a hybrid model. The state is very careful to ensure that people aren't running unlicensed nursing homes, and we were investigated a couple of times, and that the last time, and anybody can say you are, so they have to investigate, of course, and we want that. We want the right things happening for
Sure.
our folks in their care, but that we were investigating, and they found this. The state found it to be true, and said we needed to turn Rosewood into an assisted living or something else, but stop doing what we were doing. So that, coupled with the lack of census at Rosewood, just made it untenable to be able to continue as we were at that time. So we made the very hard decision to cease operations, and we offered all the residents or tenants at Rosewood at that time the ability to move into Friendship Village, and we offered every staff member the ability to move over to Friendship Village without losing tenure or any of those kinds of things. Try to make it as easy as possible on everybody, because there are some people at Rosewood that were living there that came from the Ridgeway Place when they closed, and they were having to go through it again. And we saw that, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible. I would say we had 15 to 20 residents move over to Friendship Village in our various areas, and we had a number of staff move over here also.
Yes.
So,
Well, the new dietary head
yes.
came from Rosewood.
Rosewood, Emily,
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
Yes, we're glad that we were able to put them on staff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and we've tried to welcome all the residents. They're such nice people, really.
That's good. That's
I've
great.
sat at a table with several of them, visited with some, and I know are in some of the other buildings that I don't know about. But
I think they are in every building.
okay,
Every building,
Mhm.
with the exception of Landmark Commons.
Right.
Every building here.
right. So, and we welcome them,
Good.
and we hope they feel like they're welcomed also.
I know there were a couple of bumps early on, but I
Sure.
think people are settling down now.
Yeah, and maybe when they moved, they found out that maybe where they moved wasn't exactly what they wanted, so they might have had to change a little bit, or different things take place.
Sure.
So
And that building over there was pretty a small little world unto itself, and here we're so much bigger.
Oh,
So
yeah,
to walk away from, not away, but to have to leave that small, self-contained where everybody knows everybody, and to come here where we have 3 independent livings and
Right.
assisted and nursing, and we forget, I think sometimes, those of us that have lived here a while and worked here a while, how big and maybe what's the word I'm looking for, Mary? Overwhelming it is to
sure it
just,
is, sure it is. I know. I'm pretty sure that would be the feeling of a lot of them had, that it was very overwhelming here. Just like, I'm lost, I don't know where to go. So different ones were glad. I saw one lady taking one of the new residents to each of the floors, showing them each of the floors where they were, and so it's.
and that's wonderful. But now we need to do it again, because it's hard to remember, what those things I saw, and give me a little time, maybe I can, refresh and feel a little bit. Oh, now I can place things where they need to go.
Right.
We are coming close to our closing.
All right.
And before we go, I would just want to share this thought, that the idea is that I've been reading this book about anti-gravity, and I just can't put it down.
Okay. That's He got me.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of what I'm reading.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and we haven't quite covered Friends at Home completely, but just briefly, what is their position here?
Friends at Home is a home health agency that we moved from Rosewood Estate when it closed, and wanted to give those folks a position too. But we also saw a need. We saw a need that many people in independent living were using home health agencies to get them over. For instance, just coming home from the hospital, they didn't need to go to the health center, and they wanted to be home, but they just needed a little help. And we thought, well, why not provide for our own folks with our own staff? And not that people can't choose whoever they want to, they can, obviously, but we thought this would be just another offering that we could help our family members.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's what we wanted to hear.
And this is on top of what the nursing or Wellspring Living offers with the ADL program. So this
Right.
is a little bit more extensive.
Right.
Than
But we
mine.
have plenty of help here. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of help. All we got to do is pick up the phone and call the desk and ask for help,
That's right.
and they'll get it to us.
That's right.
So that's what I'm thankful for.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Well, listen, we certainly have appreciated Lisa coming and being a part of this, being the main part. And
Well, thanks for allowing me to visit with you.
all right.
Well, I think we know a little bit more about the running of Friendship Village. We know more about Lisa. I'm
Yeah.
glad to know that, because we don't know a lot about our
Yeah.
staff. And this is what we want to learn.
That's right.
If we're one big family, we've got to know about our family.
That's right.
That's
That's right. It's important to me that we're family.
Right.
Yeah. So let's close with this. May the good Lord bless and keep you until we meet again. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.